Alright, so here's my second attempt at a video because of mumbling and dogs barking and general distractions and not goodness. So here we go. So this is a video that I wanted to make about Oracle Linux. And Oracle Linux is basically CentOS, Red Hat, with its own sort of proprietary spin. Um, And what that means is that it has its own sort of kernel that they call the unbreakable kernel. I can't really give you information on the specifics of that. That's a little too technical for me at this point. But of course, Oracle being a proprietary company, they will let you download the operating system for free, and it runs just fine on its own, sort of like CentOS. But it's similar to Red Hat in that you need to pay for support and access to what they call the Unbreakable Linux Network. And that is a repository which is going to give you access to all kinds of their proprietary software and support and etc. But let's take a look at what we got here using the free version. And one of the interesting things that I found is this yum configuration file. And now, I haven't used CentOS a lot, so I'm assuming that there is something similar here. But let's take a look at Oracle Linux because it's definitely got its own sort of unique spin. So let's go to my home directory, and from there we are going to find the repository file, and we can find that in etc. and yum.repo.d. And let's take a look at what's in here. Okay, so we can see that we have two different repo files. One is for Google Chrome, and one is this public yum OL7, OL standing for Oracle Linux, and this is version 7. So this repository is going to be here by default when you install your operating system. If you use the graphical installer, it's going to give you an option to link to the repository, and you will put the HTTPS pathway in there, and it will give you access to this public yum repository file. And let's take a look at that. So I'm going to use vim and the repo file, and let's take a look. So I guess you could say that these are all different repositories. I prefer to think of them as channels or branches of the public repository, mostly because they're all linked to this. They're all found on the same server, yum.oracle.com/repo/Oracle Linux, blah blah blah. So this one right here up top, this is the I would call this the main sort of core repository, and that is going to be enabled by default, and I believe that nothing else is. There may be one more base package that's enabled, but for the most part, it is going to be just the software that is found in the OL latest repository. And as you can see, it's enabled. The 1 means enabled, 0 means disabled. Same with GPG check, which should always be on. But anyways, so it's like Core OS in the fact that if you right off the bat just try to search for some of your favorite software, you will find next to nothing. And you will think, oh, this is sort of strange. With Debian, I pretty much automatically, or Ubuntu rather, or any of the other major distributions, I pretty much automatically had access to much more software. And very similar to CentOS, you have to enable the extra package repositories. So let's take a look here. And I'm just going to search for it. And you can see it right here. So this EPL, or extra package repository, and instead of 0, we're going to change it to 1. I already have it as 1 because I've already done this, of course. And that is going to give you a whole lot of whole lot of other options as far as packages that you can find and download. But I was still running into trouble with just this and the base OL7 latest repository enabled. So I kind of went down here and fair warning, I didn't exactly do my due diligence, which I will not recommend for you to do because it did cause me some problems, which I will show you in one moment. But I'm just going to take a look here to show you some of the other channels that I enabled. So I think this might have been enabled by default, I don't remember, but either way, this is the Unbreakable Kernel 5, the latest version, and I enabled that repository. I left the older versions disabled. I found this optional latest, enable add-ons. As you can see here, there's different versions of MySQL, OpenStack, stuff that is specific for development, and software collection I also enabled. Again, I just want to reiterate, you should do your due diligence because I have to confess I have wiped and reinstalled Oracle Linux about 4 times now because I just sort of went through and enabled and installed a whole bunch of different packages and stuff like that, and it did cause my system to crash. So anyways, there's a lot of options here, and you should read about it in the documentation and enable it as you see fit. So let's get out of here, and I am going to show you sort of the problem that I ran into here. So let's do this. I need a package called QEMU KVM. Alright, and let's take a look here. So we can see here that with the core or base repository, we have this version, and with the KVM utils repository, we have the newer version. And what had happened was, since I had both of these repositories enabled, Yum installed, well, I'm not really sure, it's either the newest one or both, but either way, that was causing me quite a bit of problems with GNOME boxes. So here is what I had to do, and I'm just going to write the command because I've already done it, so it's not going to do anything. Sudo yum install disable repo, and we are going to say all of them, and enable repo, and we are going to say OL7 latest, and the name of our package. And essentially what this is doing is it's telling Yum to install this package and only from this repository, because we are basically ignoring everything else. So this is going to allow us to install the outdated version, actually, which is what we need. And since that is found in the OL latest repository, we need to specify to Yum that we want to use that. So I'm going to press enter, and it's not going to do anything. but just for completion's sake, it will tell me that this one's already installed. And that's because I've already done this, because I needed gnome boxes to work. So I hope this second attempt at a video is a little bit better. Of course, you won't see the first one, but you'll have to take my word for it. So thank you for watching. Hope you learned a little something.